My humble pranams to all the divine beings who have gathered here today. So we are actually looking at the Thousand Seeds of Joy by Ananda Karanesh. And last week we had a wonderful session by Master Asha Rao on the chakras. It was beautifully explained to us, with your own words and with your own understanding. So today I'm really looking forward to the rest of the chapter together with the law of attraction. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tila Madam. Uh, First of all, my pranams to our great Guru Brahmashi Pitamaha Subhash Patriji and my parents and all the gurus who have come in my life at different stages of my life. And the most important spiritual guru for me, who put me into this path, is my sister. Pranam to everybody, and thanks to all the masters who have come here and all the astral and every master around us. Whether we can see here or not, everybody is present here. So pranam to everybody. So yeah, starting with the chapter where I left last week. Yes, I tried my best, whatever. So yes, I think I stopped at the question where we were talking about the green leafy vegetables and how it connects us to connect our inner self to the outside, that is to the higher consciousness of our own self. So moving on, the next question which the author asks is, so he says, like all of us thought, I mean, a different one, sorry. I was thinking not all what I thought, but initially what I'm trying to unlearn, that he says, how do I put it, that all the chakras have the fire element. That's what Lakshmi says, which we did not know before. So now he's asking, if all the chakras have fire element, so what is the role of fire in all these chakras? So that's what, right? In each levels, she's telling there is fire. So there has to be some kind of, how do I put it, role of this fire. What is it doing? If it is in every chakra, then what is it doing? What is the use for us, right? So she says, fire creates an experience of our senses. So for we have different senses. It's not just the five senses. They also say there are many other senses. What we know is all this, what we see, hear, touch, and but there are many, not only just these panchendriyas, there are even gnanendriyas within ourselves, which is subtle. So this particular answer links even to that, not just the panchendriya which we know at the physical level, also the gnanendriyas which are at the subtle level. So this answer, I believe, that's what I thought after reading this answer, that it even she's even talking to that. So so she says, the fire, sorry, one second, can you see me?
Yeah, we can see
Well,
you.
okay, okay. So she says the physical expression of sexuality comes from the first chakra. And this first chakra, and many humans or most of us have a difficulty in moving this fire upward for the spiritual growth. So that's what is happening. We are trying, we're all stuck. As she said before, we're all stuck at the first chakra. 80% of the humans are stuck at the first chakra. So it is difficult for us to move upward. Why it is difficult? She gives a simple example that even in the face of sexuality, where both of our second chakra and the first chakra has to play together. That is, second chakra is basically the sexuality part linking with the first chakra, which has the earth element, which will enhance that, so that we can, she says, this is between the physical and the emotional. The physical layer is the first chakra, that is the earth element. The second chakra is the emotional part. So when these two merge, only then the humans can experience that joy in this sexuality, they say, which most of us can't do, because that is because of the imbalance in this fire element. So when that is the fire which is in the second chakra. So that's what she's trying to explain. So the balance which is not there in both this of the fire element in the first chakra and the second chakra leads to this. That is, too much fire will also lead the humans to be very aggressive, violent, and the less fire leads them to be like, how do I put it, afraid, weak. So that's what she says. So the balanced, healthy fire in the first chakra also the second chakra. So the will allow the person to be healthy, physically active, and connected with nature. That is, physically active comes from the fact of the second chakra, and the connected to the nature, that is the earth element, that is related to the first chakra. So that's what she says. So then he asks, he moves on to ask whether if this is what happened with Ravana, or did he have imbalance in first chakra, which made him so aggressive. So then she says, no, it's not about the imbalance in the first or second chakra. He had imbalance in the third chakra. So remember, masters, third chakra is about the ego. If we go back to the earlier answers, Lakshmi used the word egotistical. So that imbalance, that's the problem. So basically, Ramana wanted spirituality. He wanted the partnership. He didn't want Sita's body. He wanted the partnership in the spirituality, because he very well knew that Sita was much ahead spiritually. So he wanted that partnership with her, which she she did not, of course, did not share. So then, moving on, he asks, so she says, I'm very rooted to the first chakra, that is to the earth. So he asks, so is this the way you survive? And yes, we have to understand one thing in this whole next few questions, summary I'm going to tell you. So she was very rooted to the earth element, where she knew how to manifest what she wanted. So how we move on to the next question, we'll understand that. So he asks, what was about your childhood in the incarnation of Sita? So he says, we want to know more about that. Then she says, not only in this lifetime as Sita, even previous lifetimes, before she was born as Sita, many other incarnations, she says she had a very joyful childhood. And though when she was a child she didn't know she was the chosen one, of course. And but she incarnated, she was born with first chakra open. That's the earth element. We all know Sita's tale, where we have heard she was found in, under the a farmer found her, so in his field. So we all know we can just link this to her having her first chakra open. So then she says she could manifest very easily, because her first chakra was already open. She knew how to eat like birds. She used all these things. She didn't really need anything much. She could survive at any environment she was. That's what she moves on says, even in the forest or anywhere she went with Rama, or when Rama was not there. She enjoyed the most amidst the nature. So, and also she says she helped a lot to others. I mean, she was very considerate. See, here we can understand was physical layer is the first chakra, right? So this chakra is already open. So she could easily connect to other people, connect to the people who needed the most. So she was considerate, like how she mentioned she could manifest easily. So that manifestation power, I believe she used to help others. So that's what he asked, like, did you do some healing or anything? She says, yes. Imagine, master, she was a child. She was like, maybe, I don't know, she doesn't mention the age here, but maybe the answers or the kind of things she says, I'm assuming maybe she was between age of 8 to her teenage, this child period, where she says that she was helping others. If some needed something, she manifested with her healing powers, and she helped others. So imagine a child of this age having the capacity to manifest what she wanted, or manifest what others needed. Basically, she didn't want anything to her. Imagine, she said in the previous few answers that she could survive anywhere, even in the forest, or even she even mentions in one place she could eat how birds ate their food. So to that level of rooted she was, like we could put it as she was grounded. That much of earth element was already in her. So she could use these healing powers that she had to help others. And also, this, she says somewhere in this answer, she mentions that around age of 9, this transformation, that is from a small child who didn't know that she was chosen, to a stage where she understood that she can manifest, or she can use her powers, that her first chakra is open and she could help others, is age of 9 is what this transformation happened, is what she's telling. And she guided even greater sages also. I mean, I think most of us, if we have read Untold Tale of Sita, I think all of us will agree how she used to help even at the childhood level. So then the author moves on to ask if Buddha also, if Buddha's a stage of life when he left the palace and when he went, right, even if his first chakra was open. That's what she asked. So here, there's a lot in this answer. I'll just give you just a summary of what she says. That Buddha was an enlightened soul. So here, one thing you have to understand, his first chakra was not just connected to his family, his surroundings, but also because he was a king, right? So a king has a responsibility for not just for his own family, but to a larger circle, that is his country. So yeah, the kind of culture we have in our country, the kings treated the subjects or the people in the kingdom as his own children. So here, that aspect is very much, I would say, highlight in the case of Buddha. So he left his family because his bigger family, that is his kingdom, because his immediate family became a lesser importance when it came to a larger family, that is his countrymen, where he had to help them. So that's how Buddha did not feel that suffering leaving his own family and going in search of enlightenment. So then, yeah, the same thing the author mentions, if he was thinking of the world family, and she says, yes, his first chakra was responding very well, and he was, and one aspect which, how to put it, was a very important, or I would say it's the main highlight of this answer, was here she says, all of the souls who are connected to their mothers, their first chakra responds very easily. And I still have not understood how this is going to help. I've read this answer many, many times, yet the what do you say, the top layer of the answer I can understand, but actual the meaning or the tattva behind this answer, I still could not get it very well. So she says the relationship between us and our own mothers, even like not only to the level of Buddha or Sita, even us, she's referring to us humans also. The relationship between mother and a child helps a lot in openness of this first chakra. So the mother, so how do we, what does, how is it connected? How is mother's relationship with the child is connected to the first chakra opening? So she says, if we all think of a mother, right, just for a moment, if we all think of our mothers, what do we get it? Like, what do we feel? The very moment of mother in your picture, in your mind, says security, that warmth, right? And the moment we think of home, the only person who comes to picture is mom, and the food she served, the food she gave, the food she fed us. So that's what she says. The food, the security, the love, the child experiences from the mother. So that is connected directly to first chakra. So masters, we shouldn't forget that first chakra is the physical part, the earth element. Earth element is the core. Core is what is first chakra. So that is the physical part of our being. So mothers, it starts from the mother's womb. So the moment the baby is born, the moment he comes out of the mother's womb, all he wants is, because he's inside, so all he knows is mother's touch and mother's feeling. So once he comes out, he again wants the mother's warmth. And that's why when the doctors deliver the babies, the first thing they do is put the baby to the mother's breast. So that kind of bondage, because he knows she's the one. So she says, it is so beautiful. I really, when I read this answer, I mean, I again and again, I read this answer. How is this still, the whole part is not sunk in for me, but still it's very beautiful to even think that the connection between us and our mother is what helps us to open this first chakra. So she says, any child, right? Any child, we've known a lot of children have a very, how do I put it, very sorrowful childhood for whatever reasons, right? Of course, there's a karmic role in this. So, in such children have a very weightage on this earth. Even the mother earth feels their sorrow. That's what she says. And both Sita and Buddha had a very loving and nurturing mothers. So now with this answer, what I feel is always we keep on telling to every woman who's about to be a mom, right? So you have to be connected, you have to be, the child bondage is so important. So now I understand, because nobody tells us so far, at least I have not heard in my family or any in my friend circle or anybody telling that, talking about first chakra, because maybe even they don't know how this is connected. After reading this answer, reading this chapter, I understood, see, this is so beautiful, like the connection or the relationship, the way we have the relationship with our moms will enhance to open the first chakra. So this is something, I mean, all of us, I think, at least I didn't know when I was going to be a mom, but next, I think I'll make it a point to mention this to every other girl who's going to be a mom, at least in my life in near future, how this will help them, whether they are spiritually inclined or they are not. So there's a way to put across these things to them. So then moving on from this part, he says, like, I didn't know even Sita had to struggle to, protect herself from that. He says at one point that, how did you, after the next question is, how did you protect yourself from others? That is the negative energies, right? We know a lot of negative energies were there around Sita even at that time. So he says, how did you protect yourself from somebody stealing your virtue? This is, even Sita had to face this challenge, was what, Ravana was later part, but even before Ravana, so she had to go through this. This answer kind of puts light on that. So she says, yes, I was protected from, because of a lot of angels, a lot of sacred symbols and energies around me. And then also she says there were so many times people could not even see that I was there at that particular time, at that particular place. So people couldn't see. So this is something very interesting, even before Ravana, she was at this kind of danger. I mean, she didn't put across as a danger, but it's still, at that time she had to protect herself. Then he moves on to say that I enjoy these conversations with you. It's his revelations is opening for him. That's what he's realizing talking to her with all these. She says, yes, the more this conversation is helping you to open your first chakra. That's what she's telling to the author. And then in every aspect, it looks like even he, like just like all of us, he has also struggled for his career, life, relationships, and that's what Lakshmi Mata says, yes, you have. But now, since there is a balance, now that you're opening, the first chakra is opening, that means you're surrendering. So everything works in your favor. So this is something I think most of us have to work on. We've been hearing of our chakras open, things happen automatically. That's what I've been, I've heard of, I've read, I've listened to many videos, and they say things just happen, manifest automatically. And I used to wonder, how does it just happen like that, just by me sitting meditating, will that happen? Now this answer helped me understand that. So when the first chakra is opening, that is the more revelations, not just moving. She doesn't mention anywhere that spiritually, yes, she says there is a spiritual raising, but again, the more clarity is there in your thought, uh, it just things start happening. Of course, karma plays its role, but eventually it will come across, and you'll sense rather your surroundings and how everything is happening around you in a very, very clarity, in a very good clarity. That's what she mentions. So, and then moving on, uh, like I think even I thought of this, like, because she says surrendering, right? So what happens? Like, surrender means what? What happens? So that's the question even the author asked. He says, like, what happens with complete surrendering? So she says, your choices increase. So now surrendering means, I was thinking, I was just trying to understand this. Surrendering is something, first comes before surrender is you have accepted, right? When you accept, there is a peace within your mind, there's a peace within yourself. So there is no more conflict, you're not fighting for something, or you're not having this duality. So when there is no duality, there is oneness. So this acceptance leads to oneness, and this leads to surrender. Only then, because you've become calm, only then you surrender, right? Unless you're not calm, you cannot surrender. So I'm trying to uh, tell what I have understood. So she says when you surrender, the fire energy shifts from the earth element and balancing. So it tries to balance and it moves up, right? When you surrender the fire element from the earth element, that's the first chakra. It balances that chakra. And when that chakra is open, next is the second chakra, which is the emotional part. So if the physical part is open, the emotional part becomes more clear for you. So that kind of leads to higher chakras. So then again, he says, why can't we just, why can't we just think that let's balance the first chakra and move on just by surrendering, or how can't we just make it? Like, so basically he's thinking, why can't I just tell that, okay, let me open this chakra or let me surrender and move on. So she says it's not going to happen like that. You may think, yes, I'll surrender, okay, yes, accepted everything. So she says, no, it's not like that. There are so many layers, because here everything is linked to what we think. Even the physical aspect is how we think, what we think. So she says this has to come within, from within. That need, that thirst or hunger, how do I put to, I don't know what kind of word to use, to complete surrender, it comes within. That's what she says. So then he moves on to ask, so you said Sita first chakra was already open. So what did she do to open her second chakra? So the second chakra, Swadhisthana, she says both, it's linked to both emotions and sexuality. So this chakra is bright orange like the sun, the orange sun. So it's very electrical. The energy here is very electrical. So this directly leads to the crown chakra. So this is the most important part in this answer, is the energy which generates in this second chakra. It can easily connect to the crown chakra, to the sahasrara. That's what she mentions, because that's what helps for humans to have the inner bliss, and for the fullness, you feel the fullness. So then she says, when you touch a flower, when you touch the leaf, you, to touch is the a thought of a first chakra. That's the work of the first chakra. But to feel that softness, right? Whether you're touching the fur of an animal or that softness of a leaf or a flower or whatever, that sense is the second chakra. So she also says, if a same sweet, if one person eats, he feels nice, the other person doesn't like it. So eating that sweet or a fruit is the physical part. That's the first chakra. Whether liking or disliking is the role of the second chakra. So she says, if this does not function properly, then there is a lot of raw energy which can cause the person very angry, violent, and also excessive. So we know the second chakra is the water element. So excessive water element can lead for the person's imbalance in their emotions. So then he moves on. So he says, I feel very nice. And just before that, yeah, there's one more question. So how and why this happens when we are talking about both the second and first chakras. So again, it goes back to the answer, where the first chakra is the physical part and the second chakra is the emotional part. So this both go hand in hand. So when the first chakra is open, that means the second, whether it's open or not, masters, the first chakra is the physical and the second is emotional part. But with this opening and this emotional part is more, how do I put it, connection. There's a better connection between this earth element and the water element when the first element is first chakra is open. So you will know. And also there's a very important point here. She says you can transform this physical reality into that is the manifestation part. So you can manifest what you want with this physical layer by law of attraction. So then moving on, he says, how do we feel good when bad things are happening? So she says there is always a good thing happening. I mean, we've always heard our elders saying there's always a good, even in the worst part of your life, a good comes out, or a worst phase of your life, a good comes out. So don't, get depressed or feel dejected or rejected. So we've heard, all of us, from our elders or parents. So that's what she says. There is good in everything. Only it's how you feel that matters. And once this feeling is again an illusion, that is created in your third chakra, that is your Manipura. So it's all linked, masters. That's what I understood. But the basis is the first chakra. If it is open, then it's very easier to connect emotionally. And then moving on to third chakra, where again there is all your egos are caught up, so you can understand it better. So here this chapter ends, and I don't know if I've gone very deep or very detailed. So if it's somewhere too much of talking, then please pardon me. So Tila madam, should I move on to the next chapter, or
Wonderfully explained, my dear. Go to the next chapter. I'm looking forward to
okay.
that.
Okay, again, I just have to say one point here is I have not that much prepared with this. I was actually out of town and I came yesterday. So I'll try my best. I have might have given just two readings of the next chapter. So next chapter, as she's already mentioned here in this first chapter, that using this first chakra, that is the Muladhara, when this is open, the earth element, with the help of the Swadhisthana, the water element, you can manifest what you want, and that is based on what you think in your, that is the emotional, the physical layer, emotional layer, and the thought processing. So here one thing what I have understood in all this is thought processing is at the third chakra. So we should not confuse between the emotion part and the thought process, because thought process is not the emotional part. It's the, at least I have understood that way. I, please correct me if I'm wrong. So the physical layer open, I'm just trying to connect. The second one, the Swadhisthana, the emotional playing the part, that kind of gets a boom with the physical layer open. And then comes the third chakra, the Manipura, where the ego is the thought. So with this to help of these lower chakras, this thought process for this at the third chakra, it kind of gives a kick for the manifestation. So this is what I understood. So I think we'll move on to the next chapter, which is the law of attraction. So that is what, that's why I'm talking about manifestation here, because law of attraction, that's the key. So let me, so here I'll have to take a little bit help of this book, because it's not just on the top of my mind. So then here in this chapter, what he, this is something I think most of us would have thought of this. See, we all have heard law of attraction, especially after coming to the spiritual path, right? We have heard this like, I don't know, many thousand times. So, you know, you can manifest what you want. There's a law of attraction. I'm sure all of us have read the book, The Power of Subconscious Mind, by Joseph Murphy. So he talks about law of attraction and manifestation so many times. And every page, there is something about, you know, you can create yourself, everything, whatever you want. So that's what, when I was reading this chapter, that book was kind of at the back of my mind. So he asks, the author asks, so what is the secret, right? You know, we all think there is this something behind this, something behind, how we all think how some people just achieve whatever they think or whatever they dream of. Why I can't do it? So this has happened to me many times. You know, I've thought like, how come that person did this? They wanted it and they had it, but how come I can't do it? So this is where this place, this law of attraction, we can use this law of attraction to our not only the material aspect of our life, but also the spiritual growth. So then moving on, he asks, what is the secret behind this law of attraction? So she takes an example. This is kind of little tricky because we are talking about three chakras here. It's a little bit, at least I found it a little hard to understand this. So how do I put it? Okay, when a farmer, so she's taking an example of a farmer who plants his crops, right? So planting, like putting your seeds in the land and plowing, all these things is the physical part. She says that's the first chakra. We are talking about the first chakra. Then he has this insight, like basically that insight is the thought. So the insight, which uses the third chakra to send positive emotions. These emotions again come from the second chakra. So his thought is he's planting. So his thought is, I want a good crop, right? So, and to get a good crop, the emotional part is the second chakra. So he's sending the positive emotions or the positive vibrations, if we talk in the spiritual language. So to help to harness. So she uses the word harness here to harness the energy of the first chakra. So the way I understood is the first chakra is what he's putting the seeds and trying to plant the crops. The second chakra is the emotional part. Using the second chakra, the third chakra is sending this thought of getting a good crop, also using the first chakra, which is the physical, because we need the physical help, right? He needs to work hard. That's how I understood it. So he has to do that physical labor. There is a lot of physical labor involved in this. So that's how he tries to work upon all the three chakras. She's just taking this beautiful farmer example, and she's telling, even for us to she also takes the example of cooking food, right? So cooking, putting all the ingredients and cutting the vegetables and cooking the rice, everything is your physical labor. So, but the thought, when you're cooking, the thought, the positive thought, right? So I want this to be tasty. I want to give good food for my kids, or tasty, nourishing food. That positive thought that again generates the emotions in your second chakra. So this is what she calls the law of attraction. So this is, I found it a bit hard to understand. I read it again and again. So the law of attraction works when, I mean, again, the law of attraction will always work. That's what she mentions. It always works. But how you attract that towards yourself is the work of all these three. So yeah, just Tila madam, can I just have 1 minute? I think I have to answer the room. Just
Sure,
please.
sure.
I'll be back. Vaishnavi?
Renima, can you give me host, because my internet connection got cut just now, ma.
Oh, okay, I need to go up again. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. So that was the role of three chakras. So again, he moves on. Here, she also talks about the world view. That's what she says. Now, I didn't understand the world view part of it that much. So I think it's, on the whole, it is how we think. I think the society also plays a major role, because a lot of things we've learned from not only just our immediate family and parents, but from our society. So that is also there. And that kind of creates patterns in your mind about any topic or about anything, that, oh, this is like this. So the patterns are already formed. I think she's talking about that. So she says, once you choose to feel differently, that is what differently, the worldview that has created the patterns, you have to change that. You have to change it in a different way. That is, she's morely talking about the positive aspect of it. So that will change, and eventually that will attract the whatever you want to be or think, or whatever you want to manifest. So she says that's how law of attraction works. Now I'm jumbling too many words, masters. I'm sorry for that, because I've already understood very little tiny bit, so I'm trying to put it across. So then he moves on asking that choosing one's worldview in the third chakra is guiding the law of attraction, right? That's what she's telling. So how does this work in our favor? How can we make it work for what we want? So she says, again, this is the game of the lower two chakras. Consciously or unconsciously, these two chakras are the one which play a major part for the third chakra to act upon, to manifest, whether it's positive or negative. For both, the manifestation happens for both the positivity and the negativity. So, but these two lower chakras, so the lower chakras is what? Our physical part and the emotional part. So the third chakra is the thought. That is the ego, or ego is neither good nor bad. But this, the result of this will either lead to the good thing or the bad thing. So that's how I understood this. So then she says, so again here, the surrender aspect comes. So when the third chakra, so the higher chakra, she says, including the heart chakra, helps to transform the worldview in the third chakra. So the third chakra is like, that's why I think she's using the worldview, because all these thoughts, right? My God, in a day, not even in a day, in 5 minutes, how many thoughts would have come and gone, right? I mean, about anything and everything. It need not be just your family or anything. So many thoughts come, whether something you've read in the newspaper or something you've seen in the TV, whatever. So she says everything will be transformed and help the higher chakras to raise with, so the worldview in the third chakra matters a lot. So that's what she says. When you change your heart, or everything changes when your heart changes. So this, I think I can link to the way I think about it is, say for example, there is some situation around you which you feels very depressed, or sad, or however, the moment you think in a different way, or take out that sad part and think what positive you can get from this, immediately you become satisfied or happy. This has happened to most of us, or all of us, in different stages of our life. So that's what she's talking about here. The moment you change your heart, everything changes. Your thoughts go according to that, whether it is positive or negative. So then again, the the author asks, most of us desire something and something else happens, or maybe we are trying to replace something that already exists. She says that's the problem. That's the problem. You don't accept what you have in life. You keep thinking of what you don't have in life. So that's what makes the sad part or the joyous part also. So then moving on, so how do I use this? So he says, is this something like law of acceptance and the law of attraction? Are we talking about this? So that's what he asks. How do we go about this? She says you have to use both acceptance and attraction. So how do we use this both? By surrendering. My God, this surrendering is such a big aspect in our life. So I mean, it's really huge. Surrendering means how do you surrender, right? That's the question he asks. So she says, live in the present. We have heard, all of us have heard, live in the present. That's what will make your life easy. And so how and what is that present? She explains very beautifully. I'll just take 2 or 3 minutes, ma'am, so that I can finish this. So there is really a very complex concept in this particular answer, which is really hard for me to understand, but let me see how easily I can put it. So she says, say for example, we'll take this Swadhyaya example. We are sitting here, we are talking to each other, interacting. So this present moment has the past. So what is the past? Whatever we've come till now, that is, we have done Swadhyayas for a few weeks. We have this. Okay, this is like a storage, the past. This present moment is sitting on this past. Now next, the future. So the next few weeks. So we know today I'm doing this chapter. The next, another master will do another chapter. We know how this flows. So this present moment is working based on so like the past is the foundation, future is the anticipation, and the present. So that's what she says, being in the moment. We know the past, that's the solid, which is for the present, sitting on that, and we know the future is something we anticipate. So again, this, though we already know this is how it is, but to really understand this and get into deeper aspect of this is what is difficult. She says future is simply just projecting forward. So that's what I said. The next session of the Swadhyaya will be the next chapter. So we are projecting, we know that. So that's how, again, all this happens through your mind, which is thoughts. So he again goes on, says your present moment, says that includes everything. She says, yes, it includes everything, the senses, the thoughts in your mind, everything. So then basically the present versus, so she says it's not the struggle or the fight that is the present versus the past, or the present versus the future. So this is not what that is existing. So that what transforms is the inner self. So the inner self that transforms is when one's present moment is seen in total harmony. Forget about all this past and future and everything. basically we have to be in harmony within our own self. Then we can just leave all this timeline and all these days and years and forget about all these things. The oneness, again, will come back to the oneness. That's what she's saying, the total harmony within our own self, the inner self. And that comes by a very deep surrender, whether it's the unknown future or whatever the baggages we brought from the past. Leave it. Have the gratitude for the past. That's what has made who we are today. Those are the lessons that has made us sit here today with whatever aspect of our life that is going on. Be grateful to that and leave that fear of unknown and just be with the present. So the positive feelings, again, she says positivity. So then I think there are two more questions. He says, how can the past be seen with positive feelings if in reality, this is very important, masters. A lot of us have a how do I put it, very sad baggage, or at least we have made it sad. I don't know if it's sad or not, but we have made it sad. But there are people who have gone through real tragedies in life. So if that is the baggage they have, so how to see it? That's what he's asking. So she says, see the past differently in the present moment. So we have already come, right? That's gone. Look at it as a child who just turns back and sees, we just imagine the way I thought is when a child is going somewhere, he just turns and says, Tata, bye-bye. So that's what I felt. Bye-bye to the past that has happened, and embrace like a child, whatever, we don't know, maybe the child is going to eat the ice cream in another 5 minutes. So embrace that, eating ice cream. So whether if the ice cream is sweet, sour, whatever it is, just embrace it. So that's what she says. That's how you release the past and surrender for the present. So then he again talks about, if this is how, like what we call these days, the psychotherapy, how the psychotherapist analyzes their patients or their client. She says, yes, it's pretty simple or straightforward, but the psychotherapist leaves his mind. He doesn't involve there. He just leaves aside and just thinks about his subject. So that's how you have to treat yourself. And how that happens with prayer, meditation, yoga, again, the breath work, again, anapanasati, all these things. So last question, he says many people misunderstood the law of attraction. So the answer for that she gives is, the law of attraction does not manifest anything if the intention to manifest. So again, this is another huge hard part, is she says we should not have the intention to manifest. And how is that going to happen? I don't know. I didn't understand this answer very well. She says, when you have the thought of to manifest something, that means there is a lack inside. When that lack is there, you cannot achieve something. That's what she says. I'm really sorry, Master, I have not understood this answer, even the next answer. On the whole, basically law of attraction is what, on the whole, the summary I understood is the first chakra, the second chakra, the third chakra. The game between these three, and the how do you put, the hand in hand coordination between these three chakras is what is going to help law of attraction to manifest. As she says, law of attraction always works. It always works. Whether we think it works or we think it doesn't work, it always works. It's just that we can realize it if these three chakras are in coordination with our own self, inner self. That's all, Masters. Honestly, Tila Madam, I could not understand this chapter much, because she's again and again relating third, first, second. It's like joining these three in a triangle. To really understand that, it's a little hard, but I don't know if I confused everybody or
No,
I
Ji,
don't know.
you didn't confuse. I kind of understood what you were telling me when you interconnect with the first, second, and third chakra. So
Yeah.
I didn't understand earlier also, but with your explanation, I could understand. Okay, let me stop.
So thank you.